and welcome to tonight's Tuesday night podcast. I'm John Mussone here with Venice head football coach John Peacock. And Coach, we were just talking a little while ago about the Friday night's game, about how there's a lot of things that sort of, didn't start out very well for us, and then we had some good things happen later in the game, and ended up getting a tie score with about 8 minutes left in the game, and ended up losing 32-26 to Miami Northwestern Bulls. But nothing to be, great team, well coached, so nothing to hang your head about. Just a good game, a little odd with how it played out, but nonetheless a good game overall for both teams.
Yeah, we played well at times. Obviously, we had 2 touchdowns called back early, and then we also had 2 fumbles inside the 10 on first down, where we saw how close we were. And then there was another time we just came over with nothing.
Yeah.
We got inside there. So, doing that against a really good football team like Miami Northwestern, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. But if everything was working perfectly, we actually would have had 4 touchdowns in the first half. Yeah. But things didn't work out that way. We walked away with none.
And you had said earlier too, it wasn't anybody else's fault, but the penalties were legitimate.
No, we stopped ourselves.
It just is what it is at that point. So
yeah. We stopped ourselves offensively, just putting the ball on the ground, and one of them was unforced with and I don't think it was running back or quarterback. We had a bad snap, and kind of forcing the ball to get to the running back, and running back never got a hold of it, and and it kind of goes like that. But like I said before, we're going to grow from this. We're going to get better. I thought the offensive line has made some huge strides, especially going back all the way to spring. Like, the strides they have made has been incredible. I mean, it's night and day when you're looking at them, where we came from and where we're at right now. And I think you're going to continue to see that growth along the way. I mean, even Finn Jones, the way he's blocking and where he's come from. So it's definitely a work in progress, and we're getting better. And we knew that being as young as we are, we knew that it was going to be tough early, especially with our schedule and the people that were playing early and playing teams that have a lot of veteran players and that are not just good football teams in Florida, but they're national teams. So our plate's full. Our plate's full, and we're gonna continue to seek out competitions. I think that is only going to make us better at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. Some individual performances that were stand out. Brooks Bentley had a nice game at quarterback. Eli Seed, nice game on the defensive side of the ball, and then Gator Wilder did pretty well in regards to running the ball, catching the ball, but had a nice 85-yard-ish touchdown return on special teams.
And then Ryan Matulovic did a fantastic job in the passing game, made some big catches, finished his catches too, which was nice to see. So there's some pieces that are coming together. We kind of had a blank slate to start the season with. We weren't real sure of how everything was going to work out. We weren't real sure of who our players were going to be when the lights turned on. And now that's kind of it's kind of getting clearer to us. Like, who are those guys that we need to get the ball in their hands, and who are those guys that kind of shy away from competition. So everything's kind of becoming a lot clearer for us.
Yeah, no doubt. Great night for football on Friday night. It was one of the better September evenings you could have in Venice. Rained early, cooled off a little at night. Had a great crowd. I thought maybe not Miami Northwest would bring a few more people than they did, but they still showed up pretty well. But I thought they'd have that side
packed. They were bringing 4,000.
That's what I heard.
They didn't bring it. They didn't bring 4,000, but they did have a nice crowd. I tell you what, they were there early. They were there like 3:30, ready to go.
Well, we're usually early guys too. Nobody wants to mess with traffic and on a Friday night and being stuck and rolling to a game late. That's for sure.
I can assure you, we're going to have a good crowd this week, though.
Yes.
With Naples. Naples is a very rich in tradition, and they will make the trip over, and especially for this game. They're used to playing the Lee County schools, and their fans will be excited and fired up to play Venice, and it's been a minute since we played.
It's been a while since they've come north.
Yeah.
I'm not sure to play anity this far north.
I'm not sure the last time we played Naples. I want to say around the 2011 mark, maybe.
Could have been, yeah.
Somewhere around there. I think the last time we went up there, and I think Cale Utsi was a quarterback.
Okay.
Last time I went up there. But we've had some big time battles with them. dating back to 1999 when I first got here. And so, I think some of their old-time supporters will remember all that.
They'll know.
They'll definitely make the trip.
The real old-timers remember back into the 70s and the 80s when Naples and Venice were the perennial powers on the lower side of the west coast of Florida. So looking forward to that one as well. Again, 7:30 at Powell Davis Stadium. Keeping fingers crossed for good weather on that one as well. Coach, you mentioned a little bit before about the offensive line sort of coming into their own a little bit, getting a little better week by week. I know that we talked about it in the spring. It was like, wow, we got a lot of growing to do, and then now it's coming to the point where like it's this close. Obviously it's a lot of work, but how many parts is it? Is it conditioning? Is it weight training? Is it technique? What do you see as far as the mix is concerned for how they're getting better?
I think it's a combination of everything. Like we talked about, it's not just like the first time they're starting, and this is the first time these guys have been on varsity.
Right.
They're coming straight from JV and freshmen, and I think everything's kind of new to them. And I think that just the more experience they get, they're going to learn how to practice better. They're going to learn how to practice harder. And then once you start doing that, you're going to get in a little bit better shape during practice, and then the games are going to be a little bit easier. Right now, I think we're coaching effort during practice every day, which you kind of like to not have to do that,
right.
not coach effort. But obviously, at this point, we're coaching effort, and when they start learning it, when they start giving up, they actually give themselves to their coach, and they actually start giving effort and stop worrying about, how tired am I going to get, or I need to save myself. Once they stop doing that and they give themselves up fully to their coach, then you're going to see like some big time improvements.
Yeah, and you're like you said, it's as much of a maturity, not so much as a person, but as a football player,
right.
Learning how to play the game at a certain level all the time.
And studying your playbook and studying the new, each week presents a new set of problems and a new game plan. So this week we're going to be facing a 3-3 stack. We haven't seen that yet. So that brings along new rules of what we're doing up front. So it takes some time, getting your playbook and study that. And I'm not sure that we've taken that next step to being that fully committed yet.
Right.
But I think in time, each game and each time they see like, oh, hey, that helps me, and then that makes everything a little bit easier. I think you're going to see, you'll see them doing it more often, and we got two of the best coaches that are coaching offensive line, so we're going to see some improvement. It's like I said, from springtime till now, there's been huge improvements, and I expect to be saying the same thing, 3 weeks from now. Looking back to Miami Northwestern, and right now, like we're a lot better than we ever thought we'd be. It's
funny you said you mentioned something, and it applies to a lot of stuff in life. Your preparation, whatever you're doing, once you commit to the process, things become easier. It's not the opposite. Doing less doesn't make it easier when you actually have to do it. It's doing what you have to do beforehand, knowing what you're doing, and obviously know, I'm not on my heels anymore.
Oh, the games are easy.
Yeah.
The games are easier, yeah. And so they'll figure it out, hopefully sooner than later. But we got a good group of kids. They're good kids. They work hard in the weight room, and they just got to learn how to practice a little bit better, or learn how to get a little bit more effort in practice, and I think then once that happens, the games will start becoming a lot easier for them.
Across the board, classmen, you've got sophomores, juniors. You've got a very young group on that line.
On offensive line,
yeah,
we've got 14 underclassmen. There's not one senior, and then on top of that, we have a really good-looking freshman group. I don't know if you haven't seen a freshman game yet.
I have not been to one yet. But
well, when you see them, you'll see that we have some really good-looking offensive linemen on the freshman team. Like very tall, lanky kids, long arms, athletic, and that are going to be strong. So you might, we might be sitting here next year and a guy that's fixing to be a senior gets his spot taken by a younger one, sophomore.
Yeah.
So you never know, because we do have some really, really good-looking kids down there that we're expecting a lot from, and
that's what you kind of want. I remember last year, you had some plug-and-play guys that were seniors that could come in if somebody was out for a little while. You could put that person in, and you felt as though you could do everything you want to do. just because those guys did have a lot of experience and they were bigger, stronger at that point as well.
Right. Yeah. So that may be the case too. But I mean, we still have, on our offensive line, I want to say there are. I know LeCicero's a sophomore. Lazarchuk, I mean, this is his first year playing football. Our left tackle. Peevely's a junior. I want to say Cecil is a junior or sophomore.
I think a sophomore, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we're extremely young, and everyone's coming back. So it's something you look at, and there wasn't and Tanica's a sophomore,
right?
So you look at it, and you're wondering, like, we could have 3 new starters next year, and 3 of those guys could be sitting on the bench this year.
Right.
You never know the kid's growth and what he's going to do in the offseason. Maybe he says, you know what, heck with this, I'm going to be a starter next year. And
again, that comes down to that commitment to the process.
Right.
Because next year you say, okay, well, I was a starter. Well, you better watch out because you know who's coming behind you. And then if you're not putting the effort in the weight room and getting stronger and faster and everything else, it's going to be a big difference.
And there isn't a whole lot of separation.
Right.
With between all of them. And there's 14 of them, and there isn't a whole lot of separation with all of them. But there is a little bit of separation, but not a whole lot.
And so I guess so looking forward, you say to yourself, if I can get this many to sort of start to rise up,
yeah,
it may put them on the starting, but it might the other guys to say, well, no, I want to get there too. And then you really have a good problem when you have guys all over the place. Heck, we even talked about it, from year to year, you never know if guys going to come from defense to offense to defense.
Right.
If you're putting effort in, everybody's going to see it, and they're going to say, okay, well, maybe we can find a place for you over here to do what you're doing.
He's one of our best 22, right?
Right. That's what you want.
Find a spot for him.
And that's true. I think you hear that more and more, high school, college level especially. We got to get the best guys on the field as any way we can, and then when you do that, usually you're pretty successful with that stuff. Bo on the Northwestern Bowl game in particular, we had mentioned as well how disciplined and how good their team was as regards to their attitude towards everybody. The coaching staff was great, so kudos to them down there in Miami. They came up here and they didn't disappoint in regards to how they were as a team on the field.
Yeah, their coaches do an excellent job. They were, I always say there's not a whole lot of people that are patient enough to do what it takes to beat us, and they had a game plan and they stuck with it, and they were patient with it. Their kids were disciplined, their kids were tough. It took us a long time to kind of break the seal on their conditioning.
Yeah.
They were in shape. Coach Edwards, I told him last year how impressed I was with their kids. Just the discipline factor of everything that he does, and you can see why they've won multiple state championships. There was a guy on the sideline that wasn't part of their staff that, after the game, he's like, oh, home cooking, the clock, and I'm sitting there, I was wondering, like, how did the clock help us exactly?
It didn't help us is what happened.
I thought we ran out of time, right?
And you had said, that was part of the game too, but the clock goes out, keeping the clock on the field, and you were struggling a little bit with where the time was, especially in that last drive to kind of, when they're up 6,
right.
We're trying to get in the end zone, and if we get in the end zone, I'm pretty sure we kick the extra point and we win the football game, and so. That was a very, again, I said about how the game was odd. Just another point in the game that's sort of an unknown that you're not quite sure what would happen. But you obviously say you always coach unknowns, quick turnarounds and whatever else it may be. And sometimes it works to your advantage, and sometimes it doesn't, especially with that clock situation.
They needed Bryson up there with a stopwatch calling it out.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it was when we were getting the call in the press box to get to the coaches, there was a good rhythm to it for a little while there, and then all of a sudden it seemed like from about 4 minutes to 1 second, it was didn't get a lot of opportunities to hear what was going on. So unfortunate that happens, but nonetheless, again, I think there's growth. I think there's learning from all this, and I think we can see that everything is sort of pointing in the right direction at this point.
Right, exactly.
With that, we'll take our first break of the night. We'll come back and we'll talk a little about Naples and a few other things about the football program in particular. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about college football, which starts, week 0 was last week, saw a little bit. They'll talk a little bit about what we think about the upcoming college football season as well when we come back from our break tonight. With that, we'll be back here in about 90 seconds at Bogies for Tuesday night's podcast. See you here shortly.
Bogies of Venice, located at 652 East Venice Avenue. Come eat in a family-friendly environment and enjoy hand-tossed pizzas made with fresh homemade pizza dough. Bogies has been open for 17 years and has been voted best wings in town several consecutive times. Inside, we feature the Venice Hall of Fame, 37 flat-screen TVs, and arcade games for the kids. Bogies of Venice, where good sports come to play.
And welcome back to our Tuesday night podcast. And Coach, we have a spotlight sponsor every week, and obviously an easy one tonight for our show tonight.
Bogies.
Bogies. So
Yeah.
Bogies, thank them for everything they do for us.
I'll tell you this, Bogies has the best wings in town,
I will give you that.
hands down. I like to get mine all flappers, a little
Well
extra,
done.
extra crispy, and I love the bogey sauce.
It is good.
The bogey sauce. I get it on the side. I
Right.
don't dip them in there and get them shaken up. I like them crispy, and I dip them in the bogey sauce.
So
then
you-
goes in the ranch.
So you know your wing order is now pretty much 95% of the people that I know, because I started ordering that way, that's how they order them. Matter of fact, they'll say, order them for me. And you do it well. It rolls off the tongue. You know, but it is the right way to do it, because I think when you put the sauce on the side, nothing
makes
gets
it a little-
soggy.
yeah, a little soggy, yeah.
And you control your sauce content. You can go back
Yeah.
in if you want to. So
But they have great pizza. Albert, the owner, has taken great care of us over the years, and it's a great spot. I think it's really cool after the games how many people come here. I particularly do not like to come here.
yeah,
but
it's a rough spot after a game, win or lose. Yeah.
But a lot of the fans come here and enjoy themselves. And I think we're replaying the games here. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we replay them. I don't know. Maybe we can replay them here. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about it, I guess.
we don't talk about the unknowns.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier about it's just real quick. So it goes way back, and somebody ordered pizzas at a party one time. I'm like, this is the best pizza I've ever had. Where's it
Yeah.
from? Bogies. And I know that my kids growing up, that's all they got when they came here. It was like they didn't even look at the menu. They'd be doing whatever they're doing, and then boom, it was a
Well,
pizza.
it's my daughter's favorite because she gets to play the claw game, and you get to play the claw game here until you win.
Right.
It's not like you don't put $1 in and then
Until you get something, you're good to go.
You got to get something. Now, what you get is probably worth a nickel, but
But you're there.
you get something.
So, all right, come to Bogies and support our spotlight sponsor for this week, Bogies. With that, we'll go a little forward to this week. Naples Golden Eagles coming into town. History with Naples. We played them in the playoffs. We played them regular season, all through this century, from the beginning from the 2000, even before then, in the 90s. And I also mentioned on our coaches show that how we played them as a perennial power back in the 70s and the 80s as well. They were the king of the Collier Lee County area, and Venice was sort of in the same classification and sort of running the roost in this part of the west coast of Florida. So I mean, there's definitely a history with the Naples Golden Eagles.
Yeah, you know, when I came here in '99 coaching, that was we had a three-way tiebreaker with Naples and Charlotte for the district championship. Then in 2000, when we won the state championship, they were a 2-point conversion away from beating us.
Yeah.
They had a guy named Dwayne Coleman who was their running back who was absolutely phenomenal. Went on to Clemson, and then in 2001, I want to say Naples won the state championship.
Yeah, I think they were right after us in one.
And then I want to say they won it again in 2003, where we I know they played it, and I'm not sure they won it. I think they won it. But we had a regional championship game here, and Danny Dunford was the quarterback, I believe, and it was a 7-0 ball game. And both teams had about 130 yards of offense, and their quarterback couldn't throw the ball. We could punt it better than he could throw it, and he completed a heck of a 3rd and long right over the middle. The receiver had to dive and catch it, which was was heartbreaking. But we've had some great battles with Naples over the years, and Coach Kramer, who was there earlier, did a phenomenal job. And the guy that's taken over for Coach Kramer has continued that. They're very, very disciplined. They're
running
very
the
well
same
coached.
offense, what?
Yeah, same
25 years, the veer.
Split back veer with 2 Power 5 running backs, and they're very disciplined on special teams, and they win a lot of games and win a lot of field position battles in their special teams because they're so well coached in that. Defensively, they run an awful lot of games up front with stunts and blitzes, and they'll show you a couple different fronts, and really present a lot of problems, especially for a young group like us that we're going to have to recognize that stuff because the rules change and your blocking assignments change, and you got to give your head up and make sure you can see where the linebackers are coming from. So, Coach Butler and Coach Hunter have been doing a good job preparing them for that this week, and but it presents a whole new set of problems for us. I think hopefully if we can get a little bit of tempo going, that we can kind of control that and keep them in some things.
When a team like Naples runs the veer, is it similar in the same sense as like when somebody says, "Oh, it's tough to play the military academies because they run option or they run whatever they do"?
Yeah.
So you have to really be disciplined. And
I think they threw 50 passes last year, and they played in 13 or 14 games, throwing 50 passes, and that's not a whole lot of passes. We threw 61 passes against St. Thomas
yes.
in 2019, or 2020. We threw 61 passes against 63 against St. Thomas. So they threw 50 passes all last season in 13 or 14 games. So they're very happy with just running the ball and never passing the ball, and
could turn into a very fast game too when that happens. If they control the ball.
Oh yeah, and then
8 minutes go by like that.
It's all inside. The clock is running. You're right. It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for error, and I think that's why they're so successful, is because they're so well coached. They don't make a lot of errors, and they're playing teams that that are in the spread, kind of like us. Like they'll throw an interception, or they'll have a fumble, or they'll do something to cause them not to get a first down, and then all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball, and then they got the ball, and it's very easy for them to run off a whole quarter.
And by the way, because they can run a quarter off, they can also score in about 10 seconds if they have to as well.
Yeah, with those running backs.
You got these great running backs. They break the line of scrimmage, and they got a head of steam. I think I'm not mistaken, but a few years back, didn't they beat somebody like it was like they scored like on like 8 plays in a row or something crazy like that?
They scored 63 points in a quarter.
Yes, right. I knew it was something.
With a lot of special teams, though.
Yeah, it was.
And I didn't believe it, but we actually were playing them the week after. And, we're watching it, and I'm like, they're at 35. There's no way they get to 63. There's only 4 minutes left in the quarter.
And
it's impossible.
Yeah.
But they scored 63 points in a quarter. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
In a quarter, that's a lot.
There's a lot of luck involved with that. A lot of bright bounces go your way, situationally. But that's what they're capable of. I guess that's the point. I mean, they can grind it out, and it could be a 7-0 game, or they can go, wild on you with the athletes they have. And
they score points now. I don't want to make it seem like
I
they're
get that.
grinded out, try to win 7-3. Now, they score points. They just do it a different way.
Right.
They do it with they're going to run right at you with these 2 big backs, and they're going to, their quarterback is capable as well. He can run and throw, and he doesn't throw. I guess they doesn't throw much, but he can run it, and they use him a lot in the running game.
And that's then you're talking about 3 things to look at, and that makes it even harder. There's no doubt about that. Well, again, Naples coming to town. Everybody please show up. Powell Davis Stadium, Friday night, 7:30 kickoff as usual, and look forward to seeing everybody out there, and hopefully we come away with a victory, well-needed victory at this point. I know we want to get that first one on the board and be good to go. With that, Coach, I did mention, but football is cranking up all over the country, all over not just high school. A lot of high school games on this weekend in particular on ESPN and whatnot.
All right, let's pick our big games. We got Georgia,
Oregon.
Who you got?
I'm going to pick Georgia to cover. I don't know if they'll blow Oregon out, only because I think Oregon's.
Well, it's 17 points, so that's a lot.
I would take Georgia to win, but I would take Oregon to cover.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I like
I'm
that.
going to take Georgia to win and cover.
Okay.
We got Florida,
Utah,
which
I think will be Utah is a road favorite in the Swamp. Obviously, not knowing what Billy Napier can do.
I just say it's going to be Florida.
I think Florida wins that
at home. First game, I think that's like a big tradition at Florida where everyone goes to the first game. It's going to be rowdy.
And
it's
I always
look hot.
So I'll look at this. really good coaches, and I'm not. I want to say I think Billy Napier is that guy. Really good coaches come out and they establish something right away. Remember back in the day, Bill Parcells was the Jets coach. First game he coached was for the Jets, playing the Seahawks on the road. In the locker room, he said, "I'm going to win this one for you guys, and after that, it's up to you to win these." And they went out and spanked Seattle because they weren't ready. They didn't know he was going to. He came out fresh and new and had all these different things. And I don't know if Napier went through the same thing. I think he'll come out and he's going to be very run-oriented. He's going to get physical against a Pac-12 team that they don't tend to be very physical in the Pac-12, which is why I think Georgia, is a favorite over Oregon.
Georgia has that freshman running back I want to see.
They reload from everywhere.
I think he's the number two running back. But last year I saw a picture of him in high school.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No doubt. I know they're reloading up there again. So I picked Florida over Utah. Then we talked about Ohio State, Notre Dame. I think we both think Ohio State is going to win pretty handily.
I think Ohio State covers and wins. I think Florida wins outright as a dog. But I'm against you with the Georgia. I think Georgia does cover. Florida State, LSU. I think LSU rolls through them.
Especially in Louisiana. It's a tough
Is
ask.
It at night?
It's at night, 7:30.
Ooh.
Yeah. On a Sunday too, so it's
on Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night. So it's a prime time, all by itself game.
The people in Louisiana got to work on Saturday or Monday.
Nope, they got Labor Day.
Oh Lord,
they'll be cranked up.
Yeah.
They're already cranked up. I'm sure about it. But I think
definitely take LSU.
Another coach and Brian Kelly with experience is going to want to establish something. I don't think he wants to come out and lay an egg, especially at LSU. They don't have a lot of patience in Louisiana for guys who need to start slow. So I think he needs to come out and really establish some things. I know that they're a little weak at quarterback right now, but I mean LSU's going to, they're going to bring athletes and guys on defense. So I think that's going to be the case.
So that's 4 games. Was there one more we can pick? The top 5?
Let's see. I got to think about this. Who does Alabama play?
We got Utah State. We have the Thursday night Purdue and Penn State.
I think Penn State wins that game.
Me too.
Yeah, I think.
All right, so we're on the same page with everything except the
cover on the Georgia. Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, especially the first games when you have these big intersectional games where it's sort of like a fun, you know that's one or two of those games are not going to go the way that Las Vegas has picked them. So because you never know, because again something new happens. A lot of times it's a new quarterback or a new coach or whatever it may be. So a little bit of that's going to come into play.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite game
of those games?
As far as the pick,
I would probably tell you I think that I'm pretty secure in the fact that Ohio State's going to take it to Notre Dame. Of all the picks I have, I feel comfortable.
My favorite pick is Florida,
Utah,
money line.
Okay. Like I said, the only thing is Notre Dame, new coach. I don't know if they're reloading this year. No, they've had a lot of guys go to the NFL. New coach there. I just think it's. I mean, there's 2 or 3 guys that are Heisman Trophy candidates alone in the top 5 at Ohio State.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud, the wide receiver with like 6 last names, and then the running back Henderson. So they got 3 guys like in the top 5. So. That's a tough task.
Well, we'll see. Maybe if we're 5 for 5, maybe we have to make this a pay show.
We may have to do that. We'll see if we're good enough to do it. Maybe is the case.
We'll have to have them repost it, on Sunday and say or Monday and say, hey, we're going to have to start charging for at least the end part of the stream.
Right. I will say something too that I'll say about this college football season and high school football season for that. the looming pandemic issues are past us now. Even into last year, we were still socially distancing in some way. There were games going to be that were going to be canceled. So I think everybody seems like it's more freewheeling
Right.
in regards to that. You're not looking at sort of what could happen, these ominous sort of potential cancellations and
Right.
people not be able to play. So it feels like we're back up to stride.
Right.
So it makes this first week sort of really pop off the page with some of these matchups. And
Or if we're 0 for 5, we should stop.
We don't even talk
we don't
about
even
it.
talk
Yeah,
about it
we
anymore.
go talk about the pros next week.
Or so there's two different sides. You know, either we're charging next week or we don't even talk about it anymore.
And if we go 2-2 and we push on one,
We'll keep it going.
We'll keep it going.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
at 500. We can at
Even
least
4 and
maintain.
1, I say we charge a little bit.
4-1. We can. We're doing better than the pundits that are doing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
And people, what'll happen is enough people are watching, they might start calling us or texting
I'm saying,
us.
like, hey, we're going to turn the live stream off, and here's the 1-800 number.
It's a done deal.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Vibrant Aspect guys will be more
Yeah.
than happy to help us out with the technology required to do all that stuff.
A lot more viewers, for sure.
Oh, you better believe
National
it.
crowd,
We'll have
yeah.
people from Anchorage, Alaska watching.
We'll be looking back on this show in 5 years from now when we're both retired, and this is all we do.
It was the stepping
and
stone.
Say, remember that show we did?
The four of us sitting around and
Yeah.
say,
This
somewhere.
is all we do. We're on our yacht now, though. We're doing it on our yacht.
We're doing the show from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Bogey's in the Bahamas.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be the case. So no, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be it's nice to be able to say that you can sit down at about noon. When will you'll be at the TV at noon by then, or you still be looking at film at noon?
Well, it's kind of weird because we have our off week.
Yeah. So
Right behind, but we do always plan. We always prep for our next opponent before our off week. So I'm not sure. It depends on if we get some film to look at.
Gotcha. So, but I said, from noon until very late into the evening, it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of good college football on Saturday. One thing I wanted to mention also, Coach, because I know it's coming up a little faster than we realize, is the golf tournament. We're we're almost a month away, a little more than a month
Wow.
away. So if anybody knows, pretty much everybody knows about our golf tournament. Biggest and baddest and best one in all the west coast of Florida. We always have a full house as far as golfers are concerned, and we can always use as many sponsors as we can get. But October 8th is the date for the golf
Largest
tournament.
golf tournament in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, and we're going to do it again. And but if you guys anybody's interested out there, go to the website. I know there's a link on the website to the form. Fill it out. Get your team in there. Throw your sponsorship in there. I know it's going to be well attended and always well run. Do it at Waterford the last quite a number of years now.
Yes.
Waterford, and they do a great job. The facility right there. I mean, it's it's right there, the practice facility, but it gives all the golfers are right in that area, so that you can give them a pre tourney speech, sandwiches to eat, things to
Right.
drink. Everything is right there to start off, and then on-course stuff is fantastic. With the 3 9s out there, it does make it flow pretty easily.
Right.
I would say most of those tournaments are right around 5 to 6 hours. I think we're more from the 4.5 to 5 hour range, and but it's going to be hopefully well attended. And if you do show up, you'll have one of the best times you ever had at a golf tournament. So please don't forget that as well. Anything else you want to bring up while we get the time?
That's it.
Well, again, guys, come on out Friday night. This is number 2 out of 9 as far as home games are concerned this year. But obviously, we love everybody being there. Good crowd last week, and we know Naples is going to show up, so we got to be loud this week.
Naples will bring a great crowd.
They'll bring up. They're an hour and a half away, but they travel well. Again, tradition rich, and they're expecting to come up here and do some things. One thing I will say, being the defending state champion in any classification, there is a target on your back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're going to say it's a good thing to happen, but they're all pointing at us, and we're not just sort of the second game of the year. We're a game that's on the bulletin board
for sure.
With that, we're going to take off here from Bogies, and thank you guys for watching our podcast tonight. We'll see you here next week on the Tuesday Night Podcast. Have a good evening.